On an ordinary day in New York, Peter Parker was living his life as a student, balancing his school responsibilities with his duty as the city's hero, Spider-Man. After all the battles he had fought and the challenges he had overcome, he thought he might finally get some rest. But peace in New York City is always fragile. As he walked through the bustling streets, he noticed unusual activity on the news. Coordinated attacks were happening all over the city, systematically destroying key targets. At the same time, Peter received reports and warnings from Tony Stark and other heroes indicating that a group of his old enemies had secretly come together to form a Sinister Alliance. This wasn't just an ordinary threat. It was the start of a massive battle that endangered the lives of millions in the city. The enemies he had faced before had returned, stronger and more dangerous. But this time, they were united under the leadership of one of his deadliest foes, the Green Goblin. The enemies had gathered, each with destructive plans of their own, and decided to use their combined strength to eliminate Spider-Man once and for all. Among them were Dr. Octopus, Sandman, Electro, and Mysterio, who had formed an alliance known as the Sinister Alliance. Peter, aware of the growing danger, decided to gather his friends and allies who had helped him in previous adventures. He reached out to Wonder Woman, Iron Man, and Black Panther, who answered the call and decided to stand by his side in this final battle. The final confrontation took place in the heart of New York, where the Sinister Alliance unleashed their plan to destroy the city. They launched waves of attacks on the city's vital infrastructure, causing unprecedented chaos. The streets of New York became battlefields, with buildings collapsing, power outages everywhere, and citizens living in terror of the assault. Green Goblin led the charge against Spider-Man, using his advanced technology and destructive bombs. But this time, Spider-Man wasn't fighting alone. Wonder Woman joined him, using her super strength and shield to fend off the enemies and protect civilians. Meanwhile, Iron Man soared through the sky, trying to disable Dr. Octopus's plan to blow up the city's power stations. At the same time, Black Panther fought alongside Spider-Man on the ground, using his speed and combat intelligence to face off against Electro and Sandman. During the battle, Peter found himself in a direct confrontation with Green Goblin, who was determined to destroy him. Goblin used every trick and strength he had, delivering harsh blows to Spider-Man. The situation was critical, and Peter began to feel the exhaustion of the fight. But in a crucial moment, Peter remembered the lessons he had learned from his previous adventures, especially the importance of friendship and teamwork. At that moment, Peter called out to his fellow heroes, and in an instant response, they joined forces with him to deliver a final blow. Iron Man used his technology to disable the glider that Green Goblin was using, while Wonder Woman threw her shield to block his escape route. While Green Goblin was distracted, Peter seized the opportunity and jumped towards him, using his webs to temporarily immobilize him and knock him out of the sky. Despite the Sinister Alliance being strong and diverse, teamwork and the combined strengths of the heroes proved to be unbeatable. With Green Goblin taken down, the enemy's plans collapsed, and they began to retreat. Spider-Man and his team successfully destroyed their weapons and prevented an impending disaster. But before the battle was over, Green Goblin stood one last time before Peter, challenging him. In that moment, Peter chose not to completely destroy him, but showed him mercy. Peter told him, "True strength doesn't come from revenge, but from the ability to forgive." These words touched a part of Goblin's humanity, and in the end, he chose to surrender rather than continue fighting. After the battle, Peter Parker returned to the streets of New York, feeling proud of what he had accomplished with his friends. As he reflected on the city, now finally quiet, He realized that true strength doesn't lie in superpowers or fighting, but in human connections, in friendship, cooperation, and trusting others. Peter had learned through his journey that heroes are never truly alone. And despite all the challenges he had faced, the support he received from his friends was what made him stronger. While his enemies might continue to reappear, Peter and Spider-Man would always be ready to defend the city. As the sun set over New York, Peter stood on a rooftop, gazing at the horizon and thinking, "This city will always need heroes, and with my friends by my side, I'll always be ready."